Welcome everyone to this video of Subnautica modded. Today, we still don't have, as of this moment, any new FCS mods for, replacing the old ones. But we are going to check out a new mod today, one that's been mentioned in a few comments, one that I've already looked at before those comments as a possibility for the future. But we're going to play with it today because it offers some interesting options. So first thing you may have noticed beginning is I got my Cyclops into a deeper area of the world because of this mod. This is the custom water level mod from Ep12, and if you're not in a deep enough area or an area where the water is going to be deep enough, you're going to find your Cyclops stranded on land. And I did that the very first time I loaded this in, but here I am now in deeper water. You'll also notice on the loading page before you even choose your game that the normal scene we have is no longer there. It's no longer working. We are instead here with a flat scene in the beginning field, and there's the floating island. I am over here towards the deep Grand Reef. The default setting when you first load this mod in the config file is -100. So minus 100 meters is what I'm assuming. At this point, yeah, I'm at a meter down. So I would assume that means minus 100 meters. You see, we're going to be going underneath the now seriously floating island, which means if you use the default setting, you're going to see a lot of stuff that is now dry land that normally wasn't dry land, but it's going to mean some stuff is not accessible the normal way it is, like the floating island. It'll be kind of a problem to get up there without using some console commands. It should not be a problem, but I'm going to make sure I'm like at least close to the edge. We're going to do a warp forward 105 meters just to make sure I gave myself clearance, and there I am. You see, my floating base platform, the floating habitat platform, is actually floating in the air. Now it's not responding to the change in water level, which is what I was kind of expecting to happen. You also see the water as we get to a distance is a little bit more just very stable all the way across. We got a much larger flat area of water looking now, and you see that contrast with that there. You see a little bit of the aurora in the corner. This obviously is still going to be all the exact same, except for the lagoon in the middle, which this is now the way the lagoon looks. You see, actually, it still has the shimmer of water, and it still has the sound of me walking in water. Yep, I'm walking in water, it sounds like, but I'm not actually in water. Now, one thing this does change that is important to note is because I am dropping the water level so much that I'm not going to be able to drive as many places. That's Cyclops, Sea Moth. You're probably going to see the prawn suit being a little bit more advantageous if you're doing the reduced water level, just for the fact that there's going to be some places that are inaccessible because of terrain being certain height levels, that the prawn suit is going to work and the other vehicles won't because it's going to be dry land that you're supposed to go over. I chose to come out somewhere where, again, when you first try this, if you're not saved in the right spot, you're going to find your Cyclops falling and kind of flipping on its side. That happened to me. Oh yeah, perfect. Right here, the blood kelp zone is giving me a nice little water path to get through. Of course, here I am now coming up on what is now shallow depth landmass where I have to kind of skirt around a little differently. This is now a lot like the safe shallows, where there's some areas where you can't get around. You see we got a nice bit of wreckage showing above water level. Man, if we actually had a... Oh, hey. He's not falling, but that one just dropped. Oh, they're dropping. Yeah, so as I'm getting it, oh, that one's starting to drop a little bit. So as I get into the area, stuff is now reacting to the lower water level. And I am not saving this. This is just to play around with it and see kind of how things work. I really thought that would drop. I expected that would fall into the water below and of course be skidding his way down the land right there, not just conveniently floating in the air. Feels so much like there's still a slight tint to it. And of course, it's nice that we still have the waviness. You know, simulates wind. I see we've got flying fish schools, and flying fish here, they are not responding to the water change above the water level, but I did see a couple of them look like they dropped in. Like it triggered and then didn't trigger. So it's not true dry land, but it does give the feel. Let's see, that's 83 on the lower level. I'm going to say let's just do 100 high, and I did not hurt myself. Oh, they're not moving. They're sitting here. Turbine is 0 efficiency. So I have lowered the water level enough that apparently it's not acting like there's wind here. Everything else seems to be functioning perfectly fine. Since I am so high above water level, 75% on the sun, you know, so that's nice. Everything's still connected because it didn't actually alter the level since this did not fall with the water. There's my Cyclops below. You see just how much land is now uncovered by just 100 meters difference. It's actually very surprising that to see how much is just now left bare. And it's an eclipse. Yeah, we got an eclipse going. Now the sun's being revealed again. Let's do this. I'm just going to do, let's see, HBP1 underscore warp. Now I'm leaving out the coordinates because I just want it to warp in front of me. I think I did that right. It didn't move. Of course, I did point right in front of me. Let's try this. HBP1 underscore move by 0 and 0. Which, of course, it should not move, but it's not making it trigger anything. You know what? Let's. I'm probably gonna kill myself doing this, but that's okay. I'm not saving anything. We'll just try this again. HBP1 underscore move 10 and 10. 10. Yeah. Not moving it. Let's do this. HBP1 underscore rotate and the angle of 90 degrees, and it does nothing. So yeah, it's not even registering those. Habitat platform 1 underscore rotate. So I am typing it in as far as I can tell. I think it's an effect of the water levels not working or not allowing certain things to work, like the turbines are not spinning right now. So now we're down into the blood kelp zone area where you start getting into the Lost River. You see some of the brine pools there. And I'm only 508 meters down. So yeah, it definitely makes a difference in terms of your depth requirements for some things. Which, I mean, you know, you're not going to see that much unless you go really crazy on the depth change of more than 100 meters. And right now I'm at 100 meters. So, you know what? I want to go crazy with it. So right now I have changed my config to be minus 1,000 meters. And as you can see, I don't seem to have any water on my loading screen anymore. Oh yeah, here we go. I am not even in an area where it's 1,000 meters deep. And I just made, nope, I'm spinning. I didn't land perfectly. Oh no. Ow. I think I got stuck. Yeah, let's see. I can jump to get out this way. This is not going to go well. Oh no, there we go. Yep. At least I survived. The fish are okay. That's what matters. The fish have survived. We have a beached reef back though. I don't think that's going to work out so well for him. As a significant difference. I definitely feel if you're going to go extreme with this, you might want to go with one of the flying mods for the sea moth, so you could use it to fly around. And you'll definitely be using the prawn suit a lot more in this type of setup. Oh, hey, a time capsule. Why is it that convenient? I find it in something I'm not saving. What did I get? That and lead. So I made it up here with a couple of careful warp commands. And, yeah. That is how much it's showing you. It's so shadowed, I can't even see it, and it's daytime. It's middle of the day, and it's still acting like there's water there. So don't think this is going to change the fog settings of the game depth. Let's take the fog off, and now you can see what it should look like. Maybe Lee 23, you can find a way to integrate the fog element so that it will say, oh yeah, this is now exposed to sunlight. There shouldn't be a fog aspect here, but that's how much is now uncovered. Actually, that might also be removing some of the water in the distance. But yeah, look at that. I think we're gonna have to do some free cam for this one. Oh, okay. So as soon as I drop past what is normally the water level, you see that right there, bam, fog kind of goes away. So it's just that it's still treating like there's water where it normally would be, and it's not. And we're getting this weird look to it because that's where the water level is now. Oh, yeah. Imagine walking up to do some mining, and there's this guy just flying through the air coming after you. Is he actually, he's glitching? Oh, no, he's trying to get in the water. He's falling to the water, and that's how far down this water is. It's just easier to turn fog off for a moment. Okay, so if this is normal height right here, like that, it's floating out. I go down. Now we're in the water. And, or what would normally be water. Now here we are actually in the water. So turn fog off. It actually lights it up nicely over here. It's actually a case that we could be lit up out here, even in the void. You see just how far down it actually is going at minus 1,000 meters. I feel like this would allow you to build underneath in the void without having to resort to anything special because of the depth. But it's definitely giving some rendering issues at this modified depth value of 1,000. Oh, at least the sea treaders are perfectly happy walking around like nothing has changed for them. Reef backs are falling from the sky. Something you never thought you would see. So one problem I'm going to point out here, if you didn't already realize this, is even at minus 100 meters, you're going to run into some trouble. Primarily over here, because this is about where the water level is, see? So if we're down 100 meters to something like probably this, how are you going to get into the Aurora without cheating or using a mod that allows for flight? And yeah, another problem, once you get in, how do you get back up? Because there's no ladder on that section. You're going to be using console commands just to fix the Aurora. If you do anything even below the just default of 100 meters on this, it's just going to take so much water out, you're not going to be able to actually do the normal thing and complete the Aurora. Oh, another side effect. Here's my beacon that apparently fell and sank a little bit in the water level. This is supposed to be at the entrance into the Lost River, but apparently it went through the world instead. And I was going to try to find my way to the Lost River. There we go. So this is where it's supposed to be. And it didn't like the water change. So you may have problems with some beacons moving. That's important to notice if you're doing this on an existing game. And of course, you're now going to be walking your way through here. Interesting that the brine pools are not taking effect from that. So that does give you at least option for a nice cosmetic if you wanted to build down here with open air and have the brine pools as a look to it. We're getting close now to the water level as everything is just struggling to load in. So that's the new water level right here into the inactive lava zone. So once you get down here, you're going to have to build your way back up. So I'm going with positive 100 on this. Now, one thing though, I did try it because it says minus 100 by default in the config file. I did add plus 100. So the plus sign broke it, gave me a red thing, you know, big warning, could not load the mod. Taking out the plus sign, just using a straight 100 works. But as you can see, I have this weird black background to my screen now. So we're in the Cyclops, and of course, because I was already in water, no problem. Well, let's see, we should be, yes, I was 32 meters down before. I am now 132 meters down. So, yeah, added effectively 100 meters of depth all around the world, which means I should technically be able to swim around the floating island. Now we're getting this weird thing because I had just gone above the normal water level. You know, that the same thing, the fog stuff happening. And there we go. You know what? I see my floating habitat platform has not adjusted. That's fine. Let's check out the floating island since I am right over here. I think maybe 100 meters high is too much for this. And I'm afraid, you know, I'm going to turn this back on because it's daytime, but I can't see anything in the distance. Like the light is not functioning the way, you know, it normally would. So we're, you know, doing this, but hey, I get to hear birds. I can swim between the two peaks. I can park between the two peaks. Okay, so as I get close, the weird blackout effect kind of goes away to a certain extent. Like it's treating it like there's a greater depth happening to it, like the same water effect. And I see they're perfectly happy. And doesn't even look like I'm in water. But I am in water, and now, okay, I cannot just swim upwards, like holding spacebar down. I actually have to be swimming forward, holding down spacebar. But see, if I'm swimming directly forward, holding spacebar down, I don't go up. But if I swim forward, looking down at an angle, and hold spacebar, I'm actually ascending in water level, which is a very weird thing. There is my now underwater habitat platform. It's supposed to be a floating platform. It's not really floating right now, but it is at least at the same height that it was. It seems, doesn't seem like it sank down inappropriately. So yeah, I'm gonna jump out and see what I can do with this. Maybe the commands work now it's underwater. Definitely getting that same darker fog effect to it right there. And there we go. We got the normal look because I broke through the normal spot where the water would be. Okay, inside still works fine. Definitely easier to get in this way as opposed to having the water, you know, 50, 80 meters below it. Definitely could lend to some interesting views. And what's funny is these are underwater, but they're spinning now. Blazer submerged, please relocate. So it detects it's underwater, which is what we want, but they are spinning. However, when it was well above water, they weren't spinning. And let's do this. HBP1 underscore move, and we're just gonna leave that empty. Yeah, nothing. Okay. That didn't do anything. HBP1, rotate 9 degrees. Not rotating. And this is the only platform I've built so far, so it should be number 1. Now, I did not look at the survival pod, the one that, you know, we get dropped in with the lower depths, because I was like, all right, is he going to float in the air like other stuff is doing, or is going to drop down? It's interesting to see, though, that at least this one, the one that we call home at the beginning, does respond to the water level change and is floating on the water you know, top of the water. Going up 100 meters is not going to have a negative effect on accessing the aurora, of course, because it's going to be upwards. You know, it should cover actually everything that would be inside. And basically the only thing is going to make a difference here is, whereas minus 100 or anything in that kind of range and below, you're going to have some way to get inside, and that's going to be the problem, as well as moving around certain areas inside, like fixing the leaks. Here we should not have any issues moving around inside because there will be water everywhere. But that does present its own problem. You see, I can't see anything underwater right here. Let's turn fog off. Yay, so we can see. The problem with having above normal water level 100 is that now, while you can swim everywhere inside, you're going to be much more concerned with oxygen. There should not be any significant oxygen pockets inside where you can stop and catch your breath. So this would be a nice little thing to add, an extra challenge if you were wanting something like that for the aurora. It'd be some case where you basically have to worry about keeping extra O2 tanks with you. There's no oxygen in this area. You're not going to be sitting here able to breathe in this area. Instead, you're going to be coming in, trying to get everything done quickly, and then get back out to get O2, or bringing a bunch of extra tanks. And that's where it's definitely going to add some interesting contrast to normal, because you get a lot of supplies in the aurora, and if you're having to bring extra oxygen tanks to keep yourself alive while moving around inside, then you're losing a lot of inventory space because of those oxygen tanks, meaning you'll have to spend more trips ultimately to get everything out of here. And of course, while I'm using mods to enhance my sea moth and allow me to go deeper, it could be fun for some people to say not do something like that and use this mod, the custom water level mod, to add maybe 200, 300 more meters of water in height or your depth to it, so that instead of me being at the 1,530 meters I am now, which would normally be 1,430, I could actually be at 1,730. You can actually make it where ultimately the depth down here is too low even for the prawn suit to get to. You know, it could cause some problems if you're really wanting to use that to get in, but it could be a fun twist if you wanted to do that, to make it where certain vehicles can't be used in places like the prawn suit can't be used down here because it's just too deep, and adding to the fact that it would make solar power possibly useless at the beginning, because you wouldn't, if you add too much water depth in the beginning areas, you won't have any way to get solar power, because it does seem to be affected by the change in the water level, at least on that. And he doesn't seem to be firing as many fireballs at me right now. And of course, what kind of test would it be without me pushing the limit in both directions, and in this case, going over 9,000! So yeah, over 9,000 with 9,001 meters in depth on this. And it's showing I was at 32 meters down, I'm at 9,033. You see I'm getting warnings about my base over there, which is not good. And you see this just actually, yep, ebbing away. I'm just going to, you know, I'm just going to jump out and go fast as I can. I want to go see what's happening with the base. Yeah, I hear it. I hear it. It's already breaking. Everything can't even climb in right now. There it goes. Oh, yeah. I mean, I was perfectly fine. I had a positive, you know, on it, and now I'm at minus 162 in hull integrity. So huge amount of difference. I don't even have supplies with me to build over here now. This is just not going to work very well. I think I will go back to the Cyclops and wait for it to explode as well. I'm just going to move it down and see if it starts to react to it being so much deeper. I mean, look at that. I mean, this is the case where, you know, if I wanted to, I could set it a lot lower, but yeah, this would be really interesting because you would be unable to use any vehicle. You also would be very high up just to get oxygen. Talk about trouble. You'd have to have an insane amount of water pipes. Oh, there we go. Now it's starting to react. Is it? Yep. Now it is starting to ebb away. That the is taking damage. I would say if you're going to use this mod, play around with it. Start with -100, the default, and then from there, reduce that amount. I would probably say maybe 50 meters down, but not much more than that. I think maybe moving it some more helped with that. So we've got better hull integrity. Again, it adds an interesting concept. Either way you go, you can have either not enough water, which limits your movement, your mobility in certain areas, but makes some things easier, like you don't have as much depth you have to worry about to get into certain areas. So it could accommodate for, say, the sea moth going through certain areas. You just might be restricted on movement because of being unable to get into areas because of areas where it's no longer water. Contrast, you go too much, you go extra, you might be submerging certain areas and running into problems where you can run out of oxygen, and also increasing the depth requirements for some areas where it might make it harder for you to get to certain places. And now it's obscuring that. I can't even see it. I don't think it's actually even like affecting the health of it if I am outside of it. I think that's the thing. I've got to be inside for it to destroy. So I'm just gonna free cam it so I can get out that way and see it. And of course, I don't want the
abandoned ship.
Well, now we've got it. Now we got that warning. Abandoned ship. I'm out. Maybe it's still going to blow up at this point.
4.
Yep.
3, 2.
There we go.
1.
Finishing up with our Cyclops being destroyed. 9,176 is where I'm at, meters down. It took long enough. You think that would have been like way faster at that depth, but we did it. I went extreme, over 9,000 on that. So yeah, fun mod. Definitely interesting to play around with. For me, is not a good fit right now in terms of normal playability, but maybe with some changes, I might see that. For some other people, it may be exactly what you're looking for in terms of adding just that right adjustment to the water level, whether it's because you want to see something more visually open or you just want the extra difficulty, whatever. If you want to check it out, link below. And of course, if you like it, give Lee a good endorsement on nexusmods.com. But that's it for checking out the custom water level mod. Hopefully next video we'll have some new FCS mods from Field Creator Studios. If not, we'll keep on with some other stuff. But that's it for this video. So if you enjoyed it, hit the like button, leave me a comment, let me know what you think about the water level mod, and of course hit subscribe if you haven't done so already. As always, I'm your host, Mr. Spicy. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to keep it spicy this week, and I'll see you in the next video.